Hello, my beautiful angels, and welcome to the very first episode of The Pursuit with your host, Patricia Berenson. Today's episode feels like such a natural place to start. It's all about how to get your life together and what to do if you're feeling stuck. Before we get into it, since this is the first episode, I kind of want to tell you a little bit more about the pursuit and what you can expect from here. I want this to be a space for all things self-improvement, whether that's building good habits and leveling up your life, relationships, any form of personal growth, improving your mental health, your physical health, stepping into your feminine energy a little more, and learning all about womanhood and really just becoming the best version of yourself. So anything that encompasses those topics is something I want to talk about on The Pursuit. If you know me, you know I'm a big sister in real life. I have a younger sister, and I just realized that it's my character, it's my nature to be a big sister. As my sister's getting older and she's stepping into high school, I'm realizing that I'm sharing so much valuable intel with her and teaching her so many things that I wish I knew when I was younger. I've had a life of a lot of experiences at 26 years old. So whether that's moving countries, moving out at a really early age, purchasing real estate with my partner, and also dealing with a changing real estate market while owning property, it's definitely an interesting experience. I was also in a 7-year relationship, which is crazy to say for my age, but that definitely gave me a lot of outlook on life, and it made life very serious very fast. At a pretty early age, I moved from Toronto, Canada to Dubai, now back to Toronto. A lot of resetting, restarting. I'm also really thankful that I got to travel a lot and I've seen a lot, so with that comes a ton of conclusions. I've been through so many big ups, big downs, everything in between, and have really focused on also trying to build good relationships, whether that's romantic, friendships, being a good daughter, a good sister, a good girlfriend, trying to really be the best version of myself. Also learning when relationships or friendships are not for you and when it's time to let some things go. I'm also a huge researcher. I love learning new things. I'm super into anything wellness related, whether that's fitness, nutrition, hormonal health. I have so much experience with PCOS and learning how to balance your hormones, regulate your nervous system. There's so much research and professional medical advice I've received that I feel like is really worth sharing with others. I've had to reset and restart more times than I can count, all while trying to figure out how to make my own income, be self-employed, build a business, and do life on my own. So anything that goes in those topics is something I want to talk about on here. I am truly a big sister and I love it. It's literally my nature. So I kind of just want to be that for more people out there. I know that not everyone's blessed with having a good support system and having people you can talk to about many life things. And a lot of the times you want to level up in life, but you just don't have good surroundings and you just don't have someone giving you good advice. I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm learning every day and I'm actively figuring it out. I am actively getting my life together as I'm filming this, but I have learned quite a lot in my years and I feel like I've cracked down on some pretty valuable conclusions that are honestly worth sharing. So no one's perfect. I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes, but we live and we learn. Every experience is a learning experience and we keep it moving, right? So yeah, my goal on here is to really tell others things that I wish I knew earlier because it would have saved me a lot of mistakes and a lot of growing pains. So just like I'm doing for my sister, I'm trying to help her avoid some mistakes. I'm sure she'll make her own, but at least her growth can be a little expedited because I know if I would have received this advice at an early age, I would have been a 10x version of myself and I would have just been so much smarter in so many situations. And why did I call it The Pursuit? Well, because I realized we're always in pursuit of something, whether that's self-growth or destruction. You are in pursuit of something, whether you know it or not. On here, I want to create a space that's in pursuit of all things self-improvement, all things womanhood, and just good things. I'm always searching for spaces like this on the internet, and I just thought it's time that I make my own and have my own little community on here. So whether you're watching it on YouTube, listening to it as a podcast on Spotify or any other podcast streaming platforms, then I'm just happy to have you here. And even if I help one person person to have their mood boosted or listen to some valuable advice, then my day is made. I'll have a new episode out every week, so if you want to watch it on YouTube, it can feel like a little FaceTime call. And if you want to listen to it as a podcast while you're multitasking, walking, cooking, whatever, then you choose whatever you want to do. Like I said, I'm just happy to have you here. So with the intro out of the way, I feel like the most natural first episode should be all about what to do if you're feeling stuck and how to get your life together. I have all my notes on here, so let's get into it. So I'll be completely honest, this is my third time filming this exact episode in the span of 1 year. I've actually filmed it exactly a year ago last year. I filmed this in June, the same topic, and now this is my third time filming it. The first time there was a microphone issue. The second time I literally had it edited. I just couldn't get myself to share it. And now we come to the third time talking about the same topic on how to get it together and how to get unstuck. Now, the one key thing that I missed in all of those times I was recording is I never spoke about the importance of alignment, and that is literally why those past episodes have not been released, simply because I was not aligned. So I'll give you the answer. If you're feeling stuck in life and you want to get your life together, it hasn't happened yet because you're not aligned to your true self. I finally feel like I've come to a place where I am aligned to my true self, and I'm really trying to be intentional with everything I do. Now that I'm in this place, I can see so clearly that anything that has not worked out for me in the past has simply been because I was not aligned. So if you're feeling stuck in life, you feel like nothing is working out for you, nothing is going your way, you're not reaching the goals you set out for yourself, it's because you're not living in alignment with your true self. It could be because there are people in your life that shouldn't be there. There are things you're forcing in your life, whether that's relationships, friendships, opportunities that are not for you. Anything that you're forcing so hard to stay in your life is not meant to be there. If you're showing yourself to be one way in the world and it's so far from who you truly are, that gap is also misalignment. You're pretending to be someone you're not. You're living a double life. And the bigger this gap is, the harder your life will be. You will constantly face friction. Nothing will be working out for you because you're not living in alignment to who you truly are. I see this so many times on social media. I mean, we all do it to a certain extent. It's really hard to come across as your most authentic self on social media. But when I see people creating such a big gap between who they truly are and how they come off on social media, I genuinely don't know how they are living their life like that, because it's insanely difficult. I don't care what anyone tells you, alignment is the most important thing in your self-growth journey. So now that I've told you about the massive importance of alignment, let me give you a few signs that you're currently stuck in life and you're in a rut. First step to change is awareness. Based on my personal experience, this is how I know I am not in alignment and I am stuck. You have difficulty sticking to good habits like waking up early in the morning because chances are you don't want your day to get started and you're just super unmotivated. Anytime I struggle with waking up early, I know there's something I'm pushing off and there's something wrong in my life, because when you're living your life in alignment, you're genuinely excited to get your day started. You know life is full of so many possibilities and you just can't wait to do them. Another sign you're stuck is you're isolating yourself from the outside world. I know a lot of people tend to do this, especially with social media bombarding you with so many messages every day. Sometimes you just want to crawl into a hole and not talk to anyone, which is fine if you're having a bad day, but if you're doing that consistently for weeks on end, then something is wrong. Another sign is excessive scrolling, doom scrolling, comparison to people online, and just a lot of negative self-talk. Overthinking about the future, feeling like the world is a really closed space, and just feeling like a victim. Whenever I catch myself in a victim mentality, like, why is everything happening to me? I'm so unlucky. There's this problem, that problem. Why is this all happening? So if you're nodding along to these, then this episode is definitely for you. So stick around because I'm going to give you literally the formula on how to get out of it. So like I mentioned, the root reason to why you're stuck is misalignment. Nothing will work out for you if you're not aligned to your most authentic self. It doesn't matter how hard you try to force a relationship, a friendship, an opportunity that is just not for you. If you're not listening to your gut feeling and who you truly are, it will not work out for you. We all try to force progress that is not aligned, and this is the part about self-improvement that I don't like sometimes. A lot of self-improvement advice out there often glorifies forcing discipline, and it's true to a certain extent, but when you're forcing something that is not aligned to you, it's not going to work. You could be doing all the right things to achieve that goal, but it will literally be impossible to reach it because that goal is not yours. I have filmed a total of 3 YouTube episodes, which I have not released because I was living in misalignment. No matter how much I felt like I was trying, that goal just seemed impossible. And the fact that I never thought to include this in my previous episodes I filmed just shows that alignment is really the missing key. So here's what we're gonna do to get you aligned. I feel like a chiropractor. Before we talk about adding any new habits into your life, you need to detox your current life and take an audit of everything around you. When you're living your life in misalignment, chances are there are people in your life that shouldn't be there. There are things you're forcing, and you're probably not spending enough time on your own. To get unstuck, you have to remove what's keeping you stuck. So let's do a little life audit. Think about the people in your life, your habits, your environment, your lifestyle, people you choose to follow on social media, the career you're pursuing. If you're keeping relationships in your life that are not congruent to your true self, your values, and the life you want to build for yourself, then they will keep you stuck and they will actually drag you down to their level. And 9 times out of 10, the reason why you're stuck is because of the people in your life. You really are a product of your surroundings, and if the people in your life are toxic, it's just going to make it so hard for you to achieve anything. I know distancing yourself from people can be really hard to do, especially if that's your family or really long-term relationships, friendships, but sometimes it's necessary. Not every person in your life has to be on the same path as you, but at the least, you want to make sure they're not toxic or holding you back. So if you're maintaining any toxic friendships, relationships, then you need to cut that out of your life. Otherwise, it will be so hard for you to have any real change. You'll just constantly be taking 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, and you're always going to wonder, why can't you achieve your goals? That's because they won't let you get very far. Look, energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be replaced. So if you're removing misaligned energy, you need to replace it with something that is good for you. So yeah, you take a look at the people around you, your environment, and a big part of that is also social media, because believe it or not, but you need to maintain a good social media diet. If you're following people that make you feel bad about yourself or don't resonate with you, don't inspire you, then you need to clean up your social media. We spend so much time on social media, so if you're cleaning up things in the real world, you need to do it in the digital world too. And then you just take a look at everything else in your life. Are you forcing a career that feels fake to you, doesn't feel aligned? Maybe you're doing it because it's someone else's path and not your own. Maybe you're also forcing a lifestyle that is not for you, hanging around in environments that are not aligned to who you are. I have nothing against going out, clubbing, it all has its time and place, but chances are if you're constantly clubbing in that environment, you're surrounded by so many low vibrational people that are there for the wrong reasons. Putting yourself in environments like that will also make it hard for you to grow. You need to remove anything from your life that is draining you, and you know what's not for you. I've come to realize this over the years, but our gut feeling as women is so on point. You know when someone's not for you, whether that's a friendship, a relationship. You know when a career choice is not for you. You have that gut feeling, and when you choose to ignore it is just when you choose to struggle. We've all done it. We like to give things the benefit of the doubt, save yourself some time, follow your gut instinct. Just remember that wise quote that the longer it takes you to get off the wrong train, the more expensive your return ticket. So do whatever you want with that information. I can only hopefully point you in the right direction. Now, in order for you to actually be able to audit your life and do this big detox, one thing you need to get more comfortable with doing is spending more time on your own, reflecting, organizing your brain, maybe doing some journaling. If you're constantly keeping yourself busy running around, you will not get the chance to hear your own thoughts. You're keeping your brain so distracted, you're not giving yourself enough time to think, to process anything, to understand how you feel about certain situations. This is when you can get really stuck in your day-to-day and you never really zoom out to look at the bigger picture. And if you're trying to figure out who you are and what you want out of life, it will be really hard to come to those conclusions when your brain is constantly just distracted. There's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo in there. One formula I like to live by is if you're underthinking, read. If you're overthinking, journal. That's kind of how I juggle between the two. I try not to force reading or journaling. I used to try to force myself to journal every day, and I just realized it's not necessary. It's not always what I need. I feel like that's kind of a good way to go about it. So yeah, you need to get comfortable with spending more time on your own and really listening to yourself, and the answers will come to you because you know who you're meant to be. You know your potential. You know what you're meant to do in this world. However, it will be hard for you to hear these answers if you're keeping yourself super busy, distracted, and you're not processing anything in your brain. So take some time away, get comfortable with spending more time on your own, and really just start auditing your life. Start detoxing, start decluttering. While you're at it, declutter your physical environment too. Get rid of old clothes, get rid of old makeup, get rid of things that just don't align with you. Rule of thumb, if you haven't touched it in a year, you probably don't need it and you can donate it. Now, this process of weeding things out is not going to happen overnight. It might take you a while, it might take you a few months, but it will be a natural process that you'll go through. Once you're aware that you're stuck and you need to make a change, you will naturally look around you, look around at the people, the environment, the things, and just slowly start removing until you come to your aligned self, and that's when you start building. So now that you've removed all this stuck, dead energy, you need to replace it with something that's amazing and aligned and purposeful. You just need to fill your life with a bunch of goodness. This is when we start going into building good habits and embracing a new identity. Hopefully by now you've removed some of your bad habits and now you can replace them with good ones. In this phase, you'll probably struggle a lot with your identity because you know your life to be one way and you've been identifying as this old version of yourself. And now that you're trying to embrace this new version, you will face some discomfort, some friction, because as far as your brain knows, you are not this person that you're trying to be. So it's going to try to pull you back into your old ways. Now, one of my best friends is actually a psychologist, so we talk about a lot of brain things. And one thing she told me recently is that your brain needs to accept a new identity before you've already done the work. So for example, instead of saying I'm starting a business, you say I'm a business owner. Instead of saying I'm going to wake up early, you say I'm a morning person. Instead of focusing more on the actions and what you're going to do, you focus on the identity component. And your identity can change overnight. Tomorrow, you can wake up and be an early riser. You can be a fitness person, you can be a girly girl, you can be whatever you want to be. Your identity is just your choice. So once you clear all that stuck, misaligned energy, you start replacing it with just a bunch of goodness. You take care of your physical health. It's so important. Recently, I was sore for an entire week and I wasn't able to walk, I wasn't able to move. And I realized in that week that movement is so important because I was literally on the path to depression. I was going through such a depressive episode, which didn't make sense to me because things were going well. But I took a look at the pattern and I realized the only thing that changed that week is I had such little movement. And I can honestly 1000% say that movement is so important as a daily routine. Find movement that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be heavy weightlifting at the gym. It can be Pilates, it can be dance, it can be kickboxing. Also find a way to get some steps in. We need to be walking every day, at least 5,000 steps. I try to reach for 10,000 steps every day. I usually split it up into multiple walks. I will say if this is your goal, download the app Pacer. You can build a daily streak, you get notifications. You can also add it as a widget and it will tell you your step count on your lock screen. I put my friend on it and she was not a walker until she got this app. Now she's obsessed with walking. It just kind of gamifies walking and it's so fun to use. So if walking is a goal of yours, then definitely download Pacer. On top of movement, work on building a nourishing routine to your authentic self and to things that you really enjoy doing. Build a diet that's good for you, focus on nutrition more, and also focus on building a good social media diet. We talked about removing people or content that doesn't inspire you and doesn't align. So now you naturally replace it with content that aligns to you. I like to look at my social media as an opportunity to learn new things and get inspired and kind of treat it like a Pinterest board. I love Pinterest. Another thing I will say, you can add Pinterest widgets to your phone and they refresh all the time and pull new inspiration, which is just so fun to look at when you're on your phone. Speaking of Pinterest, one thing you might naturally want to do during this time is also make a vision board. I love making vision boards. I usually make one and set it as my desktop wallpaper. And it's just such a good way to remember what my goals are, what I'm aligning myself to. and where my priorities are. So naturally, you might want to make a vision board during this time. I think it's super helpful to envision your dream life and what's important to you. One thing that's also worth doing is organizing your finances, getting clear on any budgeting you need to do, and also organizing just your financial life as well. Now, as you're rebuilding your identity, you will have times when you get pulled back into your old ways. So you need to develop a sort of formula on how to get back on track. And that's all resilience is. It's how quickly you can get back on track. So here's my formula on how to break out of a negative spiral. When you catch yourself slipping and going into a negative path, you let yourself feel the feelings if they're necessary, but then you need to find a way to break that negative thought loop. If you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, a guided meditation is really useful. There are a bunch on YouTube. There's also a lot of apps that offer that. My go-to proven way to break out of a negative spiral is to go on a walk and listen to a podcast. I can't think of a time that I've been on a walk, listened to a podcast, and I did not come back feeling 1,000% better. You need to find go-to podcasts that make you feel recharged every time you listen. I hope this one can be one for you, but if not, then I hope you find other ones. And sometimes a lot of small problems can be fixed by just going on a walk and listening to a podcast. Now, if this is something that needs more work, I would recommend talking to a good supportive friend. If you don't have a lot of good supportive people in your life right now, don't worry, you're gonna attract them. But in the meantime, I would recommend talking to a therapist, someone that is equipped to listen. In cases like this, I have tried BetterHelp before, and it was honestly not a bad option. So it is worth trying if you don't have those good people in your life, but you will attract them. We are putting it out there. Journaling is a great way to realize that your problems are actually not that big. A lot of the times when I write my problems down on paper, I actually just shrink them into nothing, and I realize that I'm really overreacting in my head. If after you journal you feel like your problems are actually pretty big, that's when you talk to someone and you find other solutions. But I think a lot of problems are more in our head than in real life. So journaling honestly really helps. And if you're just finding yourself struggling throughout the day, wasting time, the 5 4 3 2 1 rule by Mel Robbins is a really good thing to keep in mind. You literally just count down 5 4 3 2 1 and then you go and do the thing. So if you need to stop scrolling on social media, 5 4 3 2 1. If you need to get up out of bed, 5 4 3 2 1. You get the drift. So just to summarize, to break out of your negative spiral, you can do a guided meditation or breath work, journaling, go on a walk, listen to a podcast, talk to a good supportive friend or therapist, or you just 5 4 3 2 1 it. And once you feel slightly better, like you're more on track, you start planning for the life you want. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It could not be more true. You need to find a form of planning that works for you, whether that's Google Calendar, an agenda. I personally love an agenda. I'm such an agenda girl. And recently, my best friend got me into stickering. So now I'm sitting there in a coffee shop with my agenda, with all these stickers I'm trying to match to my day. And it's just hilarious, but I love it. It makes me look forward to planning so much. So you need to find a way of planning that works for you and you could be consistent with, because if you don't run your day will run you. Your day tomorrow will start somewhere and end somewhere regardless. Where it goes is up to you. But if you want to build the life of your dreams, something that you're excited to wake up for, you need to plan that ahead of time, whether that's the night before, the week before, the month before. Pick a Sunday, go to a coffee shop, sit there with your planner, and plan out what a perfect day would look like for you. This will give you a good framework of what you could follow every day. Plan out your daily non-negotiables. You don't need a whole to-do list of items. You just need a few things every day that you do consistently, but you know if you do them, they're an accomplishment, and you just keep stacking these wins until they're a big win. Keep working at stacking the small habits and showing up consistently, because that's how you build real confidence. Confidence is simply showing up to do the thing you said you were going to do. The more times you show yourself you can do that, the more confident you become. Plain and simple, confidence is keeping the promises you make to yourself, and everything else will follow. This is obviously a really long process, and that's probably why this video is longer than I intended it to be. But I think keeping all of these points in mind gives you such a good framework on how to get your life together and truly rebuild your life to be authentic and aligned to yourself. There are so many more subtopics that we need to dive into, but I feel like this was a great place to start. and I hope it helped you. Just remember, you're not stuck, you're misaligned. You just have to come to the point where you're tired of being tired. No one can force you to make a change that you're not ready to make yourself. But once you get to that point, I hope this video can help you, because I think there are so many useful little nuggets of wisdom in here that would have helped me when I was going through this process. And I've had to realign many times in my life, but I think I did a really big one recently, and this is kind of the process that I went through. If you're already there, then I think this episode is a great place to start. And if you need more time, then just save this for later and come back to it. Either way, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of The Pursuit. I had so much fun filming this, and finally, this will be the episode that gets released. I feel like recording episodes like this is super aligned to my path, my values, and what I'm meant to be doing. And finally, it's coming out of a place of alignment. I really don't care about the results. I'm just doing it to hopefully help someone out there, and I think I'll help at least one person. If I help two, then I'm really surpassing my expectations. So as long as this video gets one viewer or listener, then I'm happy. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of The Pursuit, and I'll see you next week. Bye.